Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a hump day edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing. If you need an orthopedist, go to Brock. Your roof, call Parish. Unique Physique and uniquephysique.com. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. Bocock Brothers Premium Cigars. Use the code MAT15, 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 15% off your order. Well, what a twist last night brought with the DeMond Williams situation. If you're not familiar, I'll do a brief catch up and kind of tell you what I know as of this point. So, Sam Leavitt is in the middle of his visit to LSU, which was supposed to continue into today. We'll see if that actually happens now. But well, so Sam Leavitt's going through his visit. I know early in the day, Tuesday, remember he had dinner Tuesday, Monday at Supper Club, like we talked about his visit. Tuesday, I talked to a couple staff members who really optimistic, like they were trying to close him Tuesday. I think they were going to. And then Tuesday evening, all of a sudden, Lane Kiffin is at the LSU men's basketball game with Leavitt, with Weeks, and with Harris, the transfer receiver from Hawaii. The four of them, Jackson Harris, are at the basketball game. And like a short time after that, it's wild, but a short time after that, we see news that DeMond Williams has entered the transfer portal. And my alarms started going off when I saw the DeMond Williams thing. So I want to remind you that if you are an everydayer of Locked on LSU, on New Year's Day, I did a Locked on LSU podcast because remember, the portal opened on the 2nd. So on the 1st, I did a podcast, and it was basically, here are the quarterbacks that LSU is looking at. And I talked about Leavitt and Sorsby, and we're still talking about Chambliss at the time, remember, because it was before Ole Miss beat Georgia and the world changed. But I also mentioned this guy. The first name I'm going to give you is a name that's not, as of now, declared his intention to be in the portal, but there's a lot of smoke around this name. And it's DeMond Williams Jr. from Washington. So you can't say this is the first time you heard about LSU interest in DeMond Williams, because I told you that on New Year's Day. And Lane Kiffin loves DeMond Williams. He's DeMond Williams out of Arizona. He's out of Chandler, Arizona. He was committed to Ole Miss at one point in his high school recruitment. Ended up decommitting and flipping to Arizona and signed with University of Arizona when Jed Fish was there. So he signs with Arizona. Before he ever plays for Arizona, Fish takes the job at Washington. So DeMond Williams goes in the transfer portal. And Kiffin and Weiss tried to recruit him again out of the transfer portal. And he ends up following Fish to UW. Played last year as a freshman. This year accounted for 32 touchdowns, 3,000 passing yards. Like, he is a stud dual threat guy. And before the portal opened, DeMond Williams wasn't yet in the portal, or hadn't declared his intention to go in the portal, but I told you it was a name to watch. And then a few days after that, announced he was staying at Washington. Well, now, the fact that despite signing a deal with Washington, he was going in the portal, my alarm bell started going off last night. And very clearly, that's because LSU has real interest here in DeMond Williams. So We don't have a ton of info as of right now. Washington says they want to pursue legal action since he's already signed his revenue share contract. I think it is important to note that these revenue share contracts are not employment contracts because remember, they're not employees. So there is no, even if UW takes Damon Williams to court and wins, there is no legal precedent or cause really for them to prevent him from transferring or playing. It feels like, and I'll get some legal opinions on this today from actual attorneys, which of course I am not one, but it feels like this would just be like a financial, like a punitive damage type deal. Like what would Damon Williams owe Washington money for breaking his contract? I don't know. Remember there was a similar situation with Xavier Lucas, who had signed with Wisconsin and then ended up at Miami, and Wisconsin sued, alleging Miami tampered with a player who had already signed. Well, Xavier Lucas still playing. I mean, you're not going to prevent Damon Williams from playing football if that's one of the concerns. So, I mean, and then you could look at it this way: Leavitt is now going to go on a visit to Tennessee. That visit was not planned before yesterday. And Tennessee already has an incumbent starter. So I think it's a situation where, there's probably some concern over Leavitt's Lisfranc injury. And if other options popped up, I think you pursue them if they're there. So anyway, all right, we'll say some good mornings. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Tiger Poppy, good morning. What's on the portal menu today? Damon Williams, man. And then I'm sure I'll find out at some point today who else is visiting. So for those who've been asking, I was told that they're supposed to start having, so they did have 2 offensive linemen on campus yesterday, and there's supposed to be a few more starting to ramp up now. Hey, Brian, good morning from Sin City. Do you think it's time to get a conversation going to fire McMahon? Yeah, inexcusable loss yesterday. Jacob, good morning. Brian, good morning. Devin, good morning. Whoops. Tiger Leo, good morning. Real NIL young boy. Do you think the 2 wide receivers from Ole Miss are still locked? No. I mean, as a matter of fact, I think they announced Deuce Alexander is returning. So, I mean, I think Watkins is the one still to watch. But again, like Ole Miss just, whenever they beat Georgia, all the players that were expected to go into the portal on January 2nd didn't. Gave Ole Miss more time to re-recruit their roster and effectively overpay to keep players away from LSU. Let's see, I understand Washington anger. College football is disgusting, but why force a player back in the locker room once to leave? Yeah, again, they can't force him back in. That's not going to happen. And I don't think it's disgusting. Like, how is it any more disgusting than what always just happened quietly with pay for play and, brown paper bags and agents and runners doing deals and just all happens in the open now. Ump day. Brian, who do you like in this week's college football playoffs? I mean, candidly, well, I like Indiana over Oregon. I know the whole it's hard to beat a team twice and everything like that. Candidly, I'm surprised Miami is favored over Ole Miss. Anyway. Club, good morning. Kirby said 90% of the roster is recruited from high school, young mainly because of the draft. ESPN Doug Mick during Sugar Bowl. What are you talking about? Yeah, I mean, Kirby said at Media Days this year was the youngest roster he's ever had. Sean, good morning, Matt. Did you see SEC shorts? I did not. Ray, Chris, Thomas, good morning. Oh, this is a good one. If Indiana wins the national championship, do they overcome the blue chip ratio set? Yes. And by the way, that is exactly why you no longer build your roster through high school recruiting. And it's the thing that I've tried to talk. I've had this conversation with Bud Elliott because he comes on every year. So if you don't know what the blue chip ratio is, excuse me. Basically, if you look at a roster, 50% or more of the roster has to be made up of 4 and 5 stars. If it's less than 50%, they don't have a chance to win the championship. At least that threshold has held dating back to 2011, I think is when they started the blue chip ratio. So Indiana is not a blue chip ratio team this year. Bama, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas A&M, Oregon, Texas, LSU, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Penn State, Miami, Florida, Auburn, Michigan, USC, Clemson, Tennessee, Florida State. So like the point I made before the season started is, and I've made for a few years now, is that they don't do a good enough job taking into account transfers. For example, AJ Halsey. AJ Halsey was maybe a low 3-star who went to New Mexico and then Houston, goes to LSU, starts all conference safety, like total stud. But as far as the blue chip ratio is concerned, he doesn't count. Right? Josh Thompson, same thing. So, what about Mansour Delane? Hang on. That'd be a better one even. So when Mansour Delane was being recruited, okay, no, he was a 4-star, never mind. That would have been interesting if he was a 3-star. Arnold, good morning. Patrick, good morning. Happy hump day. Hope everyone has a great day. Good morning. Does an NFL minority owner of a team have any vote in personnel decisions, or do they have financial stake? I don't know. I mean, it would probably depend on on what percentage ownership they had and what their arrangement is, but I would not think that they have a much stake. Certainly not like at the NFL owners meetings table. Mike, good morning. If you're asking about Tom Brady, is I guess what you're asking about. Tommy, buenos dias. Reed Rule, good morning. Did McMahon leak the Damon Williams news to distract everyone from wanting him fired? Tiger Diver, when do you think they will start getting O-line commits? Hang on, I'll talk about the offensive line in just a second.
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish built. Parish built. Parish built. From your hometown. ParishBuilt.com.
Okay. Remember, brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing. Oh. Need your help, y'all. Need your HELP. So Parrish Construction and Roofing has been nominated for the Best of Baton Rouge Best Roofing Company. Would be supremely grateful if you would take, I mean, this literally will take you less than 10 seconds. You don't have to fill out an email address or anything of the sort. All you have to do, I'm going to click the link, I'm going to push it in here. All I would ask you to do is just please click that link, and then just it takes you directly to the page where you vote for Parrish. Like, you just click Parrish submit. That's it. It takes you directly to a standalone page where it's just Parrish on the ballot. So would love to. We won Best of Ascension, and we'd love to win Best of Baton Rouge as well for Best Roofing Company, Parrish Construction and Roofing. So someone asked about offensive line. Yeah, so there were a couple of visitors yesterday. The offensive lineman from Minnesota, Kali. Hang on. His name is Kali Tafai, T-A-F-A-I, offensive tackle from Minnesota, and then also Jacoby Jones, big old lineman from Kapai Lincoln, JUCO. So from Manny, went to Georgia Tech, then went JUCO, and now is visiting LSU. So, and there's a few others that they really like that are going to be visiting, but I don't think they're in a rush. I think they're going to be selective, and I think that's what is obviously going to be a big focus, but quarterback is paramount. Spurge, good morning. Tara Walker, good morning. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Matt, is the target Leavitt or Wilson? I'm confused. Yeah, I think so. Thomas, thank you. And so, by the way, if you do go watch today's Locked On that I recorded last night, I recorded that as soon as the Damon Williams news dropped that he was going in the portal. So I recorded it before we knew that Leavitt was visiting Tennessee and before the Damon Williams, the Washington legal situation. So just for context, when you go watch it, or listen to it, but I would encourage you to do so. I think the best way that I could say this is, you know how to answer your question, I think Damon Williams is the target now. You know how sometimes, like on an NFL free agent visit, like you can really like the player, but then you bring them in and, you know, you get to know the player better. And then you also go through the medical and all that sort of stuff. And I think the big concern with, they can love the player, the moxie, the attitude, apparently they did, and he loved his visit, and all that sort of stuff. I think that there's concern over the Lisfranc injury. You know, the Lisfranc injury effectively ended Cam Newton's career. There's a lot of guys who had Lisfranc injuries that never came back 100%. Shady McCoy never really came. Now it's running back position, a little different, but you know, there's examples of guys who really struggled. Julio had a Lisfranc. You know, you're talking about a broken bone and ligament damage in the middle of the foot. It's a hard thing to come back from, man. And you know, the concern that we had, that we talked about for a few days now, was the fact that, you know, if you bring in Leavitt, he's going to miss spring, and that's a real tough transition. So I don't know. So candidly, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know that Leavitt is off the board. I'm not saying that. But it certainly feels like Damon Williams went in the portal with a no contact tag, understanding where he's going. And, you know, You can kind of read the tea leaves here and see what's happening. Whole mess. Leavitt's headed to Tennessee. Washington is willing to pursue Corey Williams. See, I'll tell you this. I think LSU, let's say this plays out and LSU is pursuing Williams, which sounds like is the case. First of all, Washington can't prevent. Again, if you missed this at the beginning, Washington, even in court, you can't prevent a player from playing. So it's not like taking him to court forces him to stay at Washington. Taking him to court would likely be just for financial damages, right? Like if he signed a contract, if he already received money, you're not going to block him from transferring or playing. These are not employment contracts; they're not employees. So I think from LSU's perspective, this is a delicate dance, where you have Leavitt on the hook, and if you start engaging with Damon Williams, and Leavitt leaves. What if it doesn't work out with Damon? Then you're really in a lurch. You know what I mean? Morning, Matt. Is McMahon basically a dead man walking at this point? Probably. Hey, Bob. Good morning. Thanks for all the work you do behind the scenes. Keep us informed. You got it, Bob. Thanks for following along. Hey, Tom. Good morning. Ben, good morning. Kind of worried about getting neither at this point. That would be the concern, right? If in pivoting supposedly here and interested in Damon Williams, if for whatever reason you don't get Williams and Leavitt's moved on. But I mean, look at the situation. I mean, Leavitt didn't have any other visits planned. I think he was going to land here. And now he's got to visit to Tennessee, which wasn't planned. And Tennessee has an incumbent starter. I mean, it's not like you look at this situation and you think, oh, Leavitt left here or is leaving here without a deal because he didn't want to be here. I mean, why would he then take a visit to a place he wasn't considering that already has a starter? Right? I mean, that makes sense logically, right? Foot injury concerns, man. I think what we're going to find out is, again, and nobody's told me that the foot injury is the thing that was all the dominoes in motion. However, I have had conversations with several people on staff who have mentioned to me concern about the Liz Frank injury and missing spring, right? And how that makes it more difficult to transition to a new offense, new quarterback, new terminology, new coaches, new teammates, and missing spring is a challenge, right? Well, Matt, seems like we may have to reach out to MVP to sign back with Tigers. I don't think so. I think, I mean, it seems like things are trending toward Damon Williams, right? Sherwood Room, good morning. Morning, Matt. Can we get both? So someone asked me that last night. Like, if you're thinking, you mean Leavitt and Damon Williams? Literally no chance. Damon will both just because of the dollar amount they're going to command, and then Damon Williams is a starting quarterback. Like, he's not leaving Washington, where he started. He was a starter this year, accounted for 32 touchdowns, to come here to be a backup. And Sam Leavitt didn't leave Arizona State, where he was the starter, to go into the portal to go somewhere to be a backup. So no. Patrick, Happy New Year. Fireman McMahon, we needed a game last night. Team wasn't ready to play. Man, finding yourself down 30 points in the first half was not good. Hey, Ben, good morning. Vigo, good morning. I think Leavitt isn't getting money he wants because of the injury. I think the Liz Frank injury is a huge part of what's happening. I do agree. Thomas, they went to the basketball game. Yikes. I wish they could recruit these guys during baseball season. Ready for Ole Miss to lose so our new coaching staff can get dialed in at home. Well, not even just that. Like, I'm ready for Ole Miss to lose because of all the ridiculous, petty behavior. which I think continues to illustrate why they are and have been the runt for 60 years. And good for them. I mean, they've had an incredible run this year. They've also done on the back of LSU's head coach and offensive coordinator. Remember, their new head coach is the guy whose defense allowed 34 points to Georgia. Good luck with that. Eric Dupuy. Bryce, good morning. Ole Miss fans don't know how to act on X with the little bit of success they're having. That's true. It's interesting, their obsession with LSU. It's a little weird. First half was a McMassacre. For what I've seen, there's already a legal case where an NIL contract cannot prevent a player from transfer. That's correct. Like, it's not. Remember, these are not. It's Xavier Lucas. I mentioned that a bit ago. Like, these are not. Remember, they're not employees. These are not employment contracts. If Washington wanted to pursue legal damages, it would be financial. Like, that's it. Good morning, Matt. Looking forward to your post today. That will inevitably raise the blood pressure about the Ole Miss fans. I mean, my Twitter mentions have become a toxic place when you combine Ole Miss fans, Alabama fans, and then just general Twitter decay. Yeah, my mentions are a toxic place right now. Morning, Matt. What are the odds we get Williams or Leavitt? Well, I think you'll get one of them, and I think you kind of. I feel like this is a pretty delicate balancing act, right? Like if you have Leavitt on the hook, but you pivot to Williams, and in doing so, miss Leavitt the bird in hand, that's the worst case scenario, right? So we'll see. Hey, good morning from Puerto Rico. Kevin, good morning. Troy, we have 0 contracts. Why have contracts if you're not going to enforce them? This makes 0 sense. What do you mean? Well, you can enforce them. But again, these aren't employment contracts. So you want to pay buyout, or if is to return the money that he was given already. Okay. Look at this. Jason. Morning, Matt. Thank you for all you do. Your relentless work ethic is inspiring. True LSU fans like myself appreciate you. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that, man. That's awesome. Very kind of you. Thanks for saying that. Okay. I got to go. Got to get Drew up, get him out, get him to school. So, again, Locked on LSU is live. I want to I go into some detail about Damon Williams. But remember, if you go watch or listen to that, I recorded that episode before we knew about the Washington pursuing legal matters and before we knew that Leavitt was visiting Tennessee. So just use that with context when you go listen to that. So anyway,